Hello, this is Jeff from DocuData. Welcome to the second in our series on hosting images in EDCRC, focusing on importing images for the client at the Record Center. In the previous video, we explored benefits for your customers and how the images will appear in ActiveWeb. In this video, we will focus on batch importing images as you would do in a large imaging project. Subsequent parts of this series cover additional topics such as additional automation and imaging on demand. Now let's take a look at steps related to batch importing images. Since images in EDC and ActiveWeb are always associated to files, we will start by auto-creating some pre-add files to work with. Images can be imported as a batch if the image name or the name of the folder that the images are contained in are named according to the file barcode. We will take a look at how to do this. If you want to image the contents of multiple files at once, you can use image separator pages to have your scanning software automatically break the resulting document up into documents that can be imported to individual files in EDC. Document separator pages help you to automatically create named page ranges. Next, we will look at actually importing the images individually through the file module and also in batch through the box and file maintenance module. For larger ongoing projects, you may choose to automate things by importing the images and the metadata from the command line. If you have used document separator pages with generic names, you can go in and rename the indexed ranges once the images have been imported. Images that have been imported and saved are considered permanent, so it is best to perform quality control before importing images. However, we will take a look at how to fix mistakes if necessary. To create a batch of new files to work with, auto-create them in the box and file maintenance module in the usual way. From the File menu, select Auto-create pre-add files and Thermal. Type or select the customer key. Enter the number of files that you wish to create. Note the starting range, which is automatically populated and will typically match the RC number of the first file that will be created if you use automatic file number. For the number of labels to print for each file, feel free to enter 0 if you do not actually wish to print the labels. In the File module, you may wish to look for the highest RC number file for the account that you just created these labels for. This will typically be the last file that you created. This is an example of a generic file label. To prepare images to import, we will name them according to the file barcode. The first segment of the file barcode consists of the number 2 followed by a letter. We can ignore the letter and leave it out of the file name. The 2 will always be the same for files. The middle segment is the customer's system number. This will always be the same for a given account. The final segment is known as the file's RC number. This makes the barcode unique and increases by 1 with each file that is added to the system. When you auto-create a batch of pre-add files, you will create a consecutive range of RC numbers. This is true as long as other people are not adding files to the account at the same time. Therefore, if we wanted to save an image to be imported to this file, we would save it as 2-24124-270.pdf. Note that it is only the last segment that would change from one image to the next. Batch scanning software allows you to save files with names that follow rules. In this case, we would set 2-24124 as a constant portion, and then we would set the last portion as a number which automatically increments. We would seed this with the number 270, in which case it would scan each subsequent image in a way that could be imported to a range of pre-add files that we have created. The document separator pages that are used for creating named page ranges are printed through the System Information module. Go to Edit Document Separator Pages. Here is the list of document separator pages that we can currently print. Note that there are 2 ways of doing this. You can either create sections with the desired name, or you can use generic names, and then either you or the customer can rename the page range after you go into the image. To add a new document separator page, click the Add button and type the name of the section. Clicking the Print button, we end up with something like this. The page contains simple text that is recognized by EDC using OCR and that will be applied as the name of the section. This page is not included as an image within the document. Note that these pages can be reused. In contrast, image separator pages are file-specific and are printed through the File module. From the File menu, select Print Image Separator Pages. This is typically used if you are scanning files that have already been indexed in the system. The files may be barcoded, in which case you can use a wedge scanner to scan the file barcode. If we do not have barcoded files that we can scan, we will select the file by entering the customer key and then selecting the files. Here I will add the files based on a history search, identifying the files that were added in Pre-Add Today. However, in your case, you may wish to carefully consider what search will get you the list of files that you wish to print. Notice that the result of my search included 2 files that I do not wish to print. I will remove these from the list, and I probably should have used a different search to create this list. Pressing the OK button to send the job to the printer, I end up with pages that look like this. The file information is useful for helping you to insert the image separator page in front of the correct file contents. You can configure your image scanning software to recognize the large barcode and separate the document at this point, creating a PDF file with the correct name for importing into EDC. At this point, we will take a quick digression to set your computer up to import PDF documents for the first time. This is only necessary once on each workstation. We will start by right-clicking on the EDCRC shortcut and following it to the bin directory. Here we will find a file called EDCView, which we will copy over onto our local computer. We will create a shortcut and view its properties so that we can add the command line parameter install equals yes. Right-click on the shortcut, and if the option is available, run it as administrator. Otherwise, just run it normally. Once this has been completed, you should be ready to import PDF files. As previously mentioned, images are associated to files. We can import images one at a time if we wish through the File module of EDC by selecting Images from the File menu. The first time you use a new scanner on a workstation, you will have to select the scanner. To scan our documents, we can click the Scan button or select the Scan menu option. If we know that the image does not contain separator pages for named page ranges, we will click No to this so that the import runs a little bit faster. Next, we see our scanner's Twain interface. Here I'm just going to adjust the zoom on the image so that it fits within the page. And notice how the sections have been named per the separator pages that we used, and we can switch to a different section by selecting it from the index. To rename our named page ranges, select Documents from the Edit menu. We can simply type a new description. On clicking Save, the system warns that images will become permanent. It is best to do any editing to the images before we save them. There is an option to remove individual images, such as image separator pages that were missed. However, once we have saved the image, this button is no longer available. If we need to make changes to an image once it has been saved, we will export it from the imaging module, and then we will have to go in Box and File Maintenance module, delete all the images in the file, and then re-import it. Note that we will have to reapply any document separator pages. This option permits us to delete all of the images associated to a file. Now let's run a batch import. From the File menu of the Box and File Maintenance module, select Import Images. Navigate to the folder containing our images and double-click it to select it, or click on OK. For PDF documents being imported, select the color format to use. Note that color images can become quite large, and indicate whether to run OCR to recognize image separator pages. Now that we have seen some basics of batch importing images into EDCRC, let's move on to importing file metadata in the third part of this series.